One of the most important points in my career as a music listener came during one of the strangest points in my career as a human. I'm sure many can relate that time between 2020 and 2022 was a point in time indeed. When I should have been in high school finding some hoes, I was instead at home, playing Fortnite and finding my way out the rap caviar matrix. And one of the very first stops in this little musical odyssey of mine came in the weird little land of pluggnb.
Now that's something different.
In the world of rap music, pluggnb is a bit of an outlier. It's one of the few real subgenres that actually has utility in describing a specific kind of music, which is rare because most of the time rap subgenres tend to devolve into meaninglessness within like 2 years. Not this one though, and thank God for that. Not because genres are all that useful as tools, because to be honest, they're not really. No, for the simple fact that whoever came up with the name pluggnb was fucking cooking. The name pluggnb comes from mixing the genres plug and R&B. Ain't that fucking crazy? What the R&B part is alluding to is pretty obvious though, as instrumentation is actually pretty jazz and neo-soul inspired as well. It's a lot of electric guitars, electric pianos, there's some strings and horns as well, except they're all played on these virtual instruments that sound like virtual instruments. There's a huge focus on these real synthy sounds, instruments that make no attempt to disguise themselves as the real thing. And the instrumentals really lean into that. Take a you'd hear from like a Pokemon OST. A lot of the time in the background there'll be this little higher pitched gliding monotone sine wave thing, making some sort of counter melody or doing some arpeggio shit. Or maybe there's some angelic strings that are as soft as they are massive, just filling space, or both. They also pretty often make use of one of my favorite production things in like all the music. You see it most often in 70s soul and R&B and 90s R&B and neo soul. It's that super high pitched virtual violin sound that just sits up top holding one long ass note, like a beautiful dog whistle. The overall soundscapes that these producers be making sometimes is just genuinely gorgeous. These instrumentals be feeling like the prettiest morning in spring. The other half of pluggnb, the plug part, is just as, if not more obvious, assuming you know what plug is. It's like peak 2016, 2017 rap music. Basically, any song you hear that little plug soundbite in. Like Gassed Up by that one guy, or Take K, or D Savage. A lot of Playboi Carti's real early music is plug as well. It's a lot of real sharp, real heavily accented drum sounds. Not quite rolling drum machine robotic, but still obviously not real drums. I really love their miscellaneous perk folder drum kit sounds like a stray bongo or a rim knock. They love their chants too. I'm rambling. Basically, you just take the drums from those songs, put them with all those electric pianos and all that bullshit we just talked about, drench the vocals with some auto-tune, start singing about romance and drugs and heartbreak, and voila, pluggnb. Summrs did it first. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Look, I'm no pluggnb expert, but the guy who made this other YouTube video might be, and he seems to think that Summrs was at least one of the genre's creators and likely its most pivotal pioneer. For those of you who aren't aware, Summrs is a rapper from with one of the funniest digital footprints known to man. You may know him from this video. Or from the I'm the Biggest Bird meme from like 2 years ago. That's not literally him who made the song, but it definitely is a parody. It's on a pluggnb instrumental, and Summrs has the whole bird motif type thing going on. Anyway, back to the shit that matters. Apparently his song Pack Warner Bitch is considered by some the first ever pluggnb song, and he's made tapes like Bell Ward 1 and 2, Devotion, Revived, at least 2 of which would almost certainly be in the top 4 or 5 most common answers for best ever pluggnb project. None of those is my goat though. Nah, I didn't tap into the genre until like 2021, and going back to listen to those projects, all of which were released prior to 2019, I just can't get into it. The instrumentals aren't nearly as lush or sonically full as the ones I fell in love with, and I find the beats just to be a little too thin and the drums a little too busy. It just doesn't feel like a finished product yet. And I find Summrs as a rapper, a singer, and a songwriter just kinda lacking for me. Like, I go back and I listen to Revived, probably the most beloved of all those projects I listed earlier, and this has one flow, the entire project. One. Fast, 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 slow. I need that money like Prado. I'm rolling against the front top. Right up the root in the range. Came in this bitch with a rain. Come go to my mouth like I'm doing me. That dirty bitch can't touch me. Get pulled over, get a price to bail. Get locked up, it ain't nothing to Not saying it's bad or anything, it's just not for me. And it also doesn't help that I haven't really put in any effort into actually trying to appreciate the music, but that's beside the point. Now, it wasn't until 2020, 2021, after the genre had a lit TikTok boom and the sound got a bit more developed, that I found my way there. It took a minute because at first I didn't like Summrs. His voice and style of singing just wasn't clicking for me. All I listened to at the time was Autumn, a frequent collaborator and master of vocal melodies who has his own little bunch of classics and weird allegations. But still, I kept listening until I eventually managed to get my foot in the door, and what finally did it for me was What We Have. Y'all don't f with the Dark Souls Girls Want Girls footwork? Damn. Hey, my fault, y'all. My fault. That's my bad. Shout out to Repair Kit on SoundCloud, by the way. This is like the third track from their raw time mix that I used in this video alone. Go f with them. That's just fire. What We Have is both the intro and the title track of Summer's little 6-song EP of the same name, coincidentally released on the first day of summer in 2021. Refer back to that little imaginary poll, the best pluggnb project of all time, and this one will more than likely be #1 for most people. That or maybe the album he released later that same year. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm partial to the former, in large part because of What We Have, the song. It's not just my favorite on the project, not just my favorite by Summrs, not even my favorite pluggnb song, but one of my favorite songs of all time ever. And yet it only really shows a small piece of the picture when it comes to Summrs as an artist. A lot of what really makes him unique, a lot of the more quirky aspects of his rapping don't really show through here, which is likely why it makes for such a good introduction, not just to the project, but for me personally, to his music as a whole. You see, What We Have here on What We Have, the song, is Summrs on his absolute best behavior. He came fully prepared to meet the parents, and he know for damn sure he gonna leave a good impression, and that he absolutely did. For a Summrs track, it's really not that much bullshit, just great songwriting and a great performance. This is maybe the single catchiest hook he's ever made ever. It's one of them ones that'll have you spontaneously breaking down the song at random points in the day. And part of what makes it so good is that little bit of the more unique side of Summrs shining through. Unique only a bit though, enough for it to be distinctly Summrs while still being easy to appreciate without someone needing their ears to adjust to the sound first. What exactly that little bit of bullshit is and how it manifests to the benefit of the song is what I'd like to discuss next. However, it seems I've written myself into a corner, so before we do that, why don't we zoom out just a little bit more? Nah, I'm just playing. So, intertwined with the sound of pluggnb is this level of camp, or kinda cheesiness, that's core to the genre and what makes it special. In the same way it's core to those goofy 80s slasher horror movies, to a slightly lesser extent maybe. The instrumentals, as grand, complex, and overdramatic as they are, all the hyper-romanticized drug talk and auto-tune cranked straight to wumbo, amplifying any sort of voice crack or stray bit of emotion seeping through. Through all of it though, Summrs is still maybe the only artist I really feel is being 100% genuine. There's a sense of irony I get from some of his pluggnb peers like Lil Shine for example, or I'm too cool to really sing my ass off demeanor that I get from someone like Autumn, who I briefly mentioned before. I don't get that at all from Summrs music. This will hop in the booth and sing out his goddamn chest if that's how he really feeling. He don't care that he has kind of an awkward voice and might not be the best singer. He just don't give a fuck about doing what he do, and he just be doing him to the absolute fullest. And all that manifests as here on What We Have is him singing out his goddamn chest with zero reservations. There's one point in the song that I especially love. It's when his vocal melodies follow the 808s up into that upper register and everything just pops out that much more. It's brilliant. Track 2, Put Out Fi, is a step down from What We Have, but so are most other songs that exist, so that's chill. This time, the hook isn't all that special for real. It's whatever, it's cool. The verse though, it's Summrs at his most Summrs. This is when you really start to see what's up. Look, he's not the best rapper. His pen is nothing to write home about, but he's just kind of quirky sometimes. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, why the fuck are you in the booth talking about some when the beat going in cause I'm tired? My nigga, we are not even halfway through the song. Your verse just started. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you asking me for? Why did you put this in the song, bro? Why are you complaining about rapping in your raps? What is this? What are you talking about? And then he goes on to say in the same song, right? He goes, you fucked fucked up the other night when you said that you had said to me. What? You're a rapper, bro. What the fuck did she say to you? What could she have possibly said? Tell me, paint me a picture, bro. Like, how could you be the same nigga that wrote the hook off What We Have and then go on to write some shit that's so vague, so clunky, and so obtuse and out of place? Like, it's so ungraceful. I love it. This nigga hilarious. Shit like this is pretty common in Summrs' music, and it's part of the reason I had trouble getting into it. He has this kind of herky-jerky style of sing rapping. It's a lot of starting and stopping, run-on synthesis, and him trying to cram as many words as possible into one line. That, along with the fact that, like I said, he has kind of an awkward voice, made it a bit of an acquired taste for me. Kind of like to a lesser extent. He just has a certain charm to the way he goes about rapping and singing that only he has. He's just doing him to the fullest extent. If I'm being honest, it grows on you. Out the Window is pretty similar to the prior track in that I really don't have that much to say about it, at least compared to What We Have and another song I'll be talking about very soon. Like tracks 1 and 2, it's another go-yard instrumental with a few pretty interesting production things. His main little synth thing is pretty cool. It's like this pulsating beeping sound. It kind of sounds like some form of communication, like a robo sign language or some shit. Morse code. Them little staccato pluck strings are sick too, and I really love this kind of reloading thing the Beatles do every once in a while. It's not something you really hear in rap music all that often, at least in this form. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's more often the part of a song that'll get sampled and then turned into an instrumental. So it's interesting hearing that concept here, but built from the ground up.
FN57 on my hip, I let it go. I pay off smoking dog. She hit my phone every time I'm on the road. 一人の心の騒ぎに
In regards to Summrs himself, he don't really do anything quite as eyebrow-raising as the last track, and I do really like a lot of the vocal melodies and shit he be doing here. The hook is definitely better as well. Overall, it's just more Summrs doing Summrs. It's cool. I'm with it. Just Can is a bit more than just cool though. It's another song that's absolutely up there with What We Have. In my mind, these are the two heavy hitters of the EP, but if I'm being honest, this one stands all on its own. It's not his biggest song ever for no reason after all. I feel this is the most fleshed out and well executed version of this more non-conforming and authentic Summrs that we've ever seen, at least on this project. Here on Just Can't, he uses that tendency to say as much as he can in as little time as possible to the absolute fullest. It's not like some groundbreaking shit or anything. I'm sure other people have done it, just not in this way and not as well. With Summrs, it's so much more rigid. He's so strictly glued to the beat, so whenever he shifts speed, it's like whiplash compared to other artists. And that's absolutely not a bad thing, quite the opposite actually. Because his rapping is so structured and almost telegraphed while still being dynamic, just the rhythm alone, specifically here on the chorus, is going to be drilled into your brain after just the first listen. I think you could literally just take the chorus and play it on a snare, like a marching band snare, and not only would it translate perfectly, but it would also be instantly recognizable. It's that catchy, it's such an earworm, and it's also fun as fuck to sing along with. Just generally speaking, the aspects to which I find this EP to be best at are in its instrumentals and its choruses, and the way it manages to feel so raw and genuine and polished and refined all at the same time. And I think in some certain facets, Just Can is the best in the project at all of those things. On the chorus, instead of just sacrificing all of his Summrs authenticity tokens for the sake of approachability, polish, singing, and catchiness like on What We Have, he just threw a few into polish and kept the rest. So while the chorus and the song broadly might not be as catchy or emotional or polished or approachable, it still is catchy and it still is polished. But most of all, it's the most fleshed out and well executed version of this more non-conforming and authentic Summrs. And instead of that manifesting in just him singing out his goddamn chest, it manifests in his flow, which is very much in that same vein as that singular flow that I complained about so much on Revive. But instead of it being this rigid and inflexible crutch that he's relied on to the point where it's become repetitive and obnoxious, it's evolved into a rigid yet dynamic specialty. It's a tool that he's mastered and he can pull out whenever he feels like it. On this song at least, there is still some spots where he does use it as a crutch, but you know, the old habits die hard and shit. His vocal performance in the chorus is definitely one of the things that took the most getting used to, but even then, the extent to which in its acquired taste is still like nothing compared to most. The way the pitch of his voice is just kind of like an exponential curve is definitely kind kind of weird, especially since it's not really sung, it's rapped. But once you get used to it, it's definitely like his flow, and that the sheer simplicity and predictability just makes the hook that much more memorable. And again, like, the fact that it's simplistic and predictable is definitely not a knock, because I'm not expecting anybody else to do this in the first place. The instrumental is also interesting in the way that it falls in line with the chorus in relation to the rest of the project. This time, the song's produced by Autumn. In regards to its variety and depth of sound, it just doesn't compare to any of the songs produced by Goyard or even BFO2 from 30 Nick. It's nowhere near as lush, and it just doesn't have as deep an atmosphere that a song like Out the Window does, which in my opinion has the best instrumental on the project. Instead, it has kind of like a minimalist approach, I guess. It's super bare bones, but it has everything a great plug-and-b instrumental needs. A real catchy gliding synth that turns into this cute call and response, and a soft-ass electric piano playing some beautifully extended chords. Speaking of BFO2 is what I will not do, not because the song's bad or not worth talking about, but because I'm tired of making this video. At the end of the day, it's not what we have, it's definitely not just Cant, and it's not the outro. The project pretty much ends on the same note it started with, another over-dramatic ass, campy ass song, and I still love it. And while I might not love it as much as what we have, Cut So Deep is still just as, if not more worthy of being played alongside that one gif of Vegeta crying in the rain. This is real heartbreak music. Not that I know what that feels like, but sometimes I play this song in the shower and pretend that I do. I think for a lot of people, this song is the perfect outro for what is the defining project of an entire genre. Now, do I personally really have the proper context or understanding to make a claim so grand? Probably not, but I don't really care to. I really just wanted to talk about the parts of pluggnb, summrs, and what we have that I love. Maybe 2 weeks ago that would have also included those last two songs, but at this point, fuck no. But whatever, man. I tried way too hard making this shit an accident, and it ended up taking fucking 5 weeks. So now not only do I hate this video, I hate every song I just talked. Give me money. There's like a slightly extended cut of this on Patreon, so you should go look at that. Peace.